So back in May, PlayStation had their regular State of Play presentation, and in that presentation, they revealed Concord, their next big thing. It's the launch of a brand new IP. This is their big multiplayer shooter. They've clearly spent a lot of time and a lot of money on this. It's their big thing, and almost no one cared. I think almost everybody thought it just looked like generic slop. It looked like it was aping every other mildly popular shooter out there. It was just Overwatch. It was just Sony's Overwatch. It was Overwatch and Guardians of the Galaxy. Nothing about it was original in any way. and the reception was not positive overall. I actually made a video about it on my main channel about how it seemed like it was just like the epitome of AAA by the numbers schlock. The absolute best example perhaps we have ever had of a purely cynical, focus-tested, just mash of popular ideas. And, there's like a little part of me that's like, what if that's not fair? What if that's not quite fair? What if the game comes out and it's not a big flop? Maybe it's not the worst flop in the world. Maybe they were kind of right. Maybe they will see some level of success. Maybe it won't be the next Fortnite or Overwatch, but maybe it'll be okay. There's at least a small chance that we're wrong, right? At least a teeny tiny chance that we're wrong, and this wasn't only exclusively a giant misstep for Sony. This wasn't only a bad idea, right? It's possible, maybe. But the game launched. It is out now, and if you haven't already read articles on how it's doing, sit down. Just make sure you're sitting down. Don't have any liquid in your mouth. Because we have the Steam numbers. When stuff comes out on Steam, you can see how many people are playing a game concurrently. And I know that Steam isn't the only metric, it's on PlayStation and PC. So okay, it'd probably be maybe even most people on PlayStation, but you can still look at the Steam numbers because PC is a humongous market. It might not even be that. I don't actually know what the numbers are. All of these, Sony's been putting a lot of games on PC kind of after the fact. I guess this launched on both, though, which was smart because this is a big multiplayer shooter. So I don't actually know how the numbers might compare between PlayStation and Steam. But we do know that the Steam numbers are important. It is a pretty good metric of how the game is doing. And again, just sit down, swallow any water, coffee, anything that you had. Just don't have anything in there. It seems that Concord has not at any time since its launch cracked 1,000 concurrent players on Steam. Not even the day that it launched. The day that it launched should be the biggest day in any game's history. I know with a multiplayer game, it could be a little different because a game that is a success then can grow into an even bigger success and be even bigger than it ever was, even at launch. That is a thing that can happen. But with a game that has not yet proven itself to be to be that kind of game, day one is pretty important. Day one is pretty darn important. And it seems that the highest concurrent player count that the game has ever enjoyed, 697. A number not counting in the millions. You look at you look at your Fortnite or whatever, it's in the millions. Okay, how about hundreds of thousands for a good popular game? How about thousands for a moderately popular game? No. We're in the hundreds. We're in the hundreds. And need I remind you, that was the peak. That is the highest that it has been at any time. And you know, I've read a couple articles on it, and this is kind of ongoing. One of the articles I read said that they looked it up in the moment while they were writing the article, and it was like, was it 100 something? Now we're in the dozens. Now we're in the dozens. And there's so much to say. I am gonna have to do a follow-up, like a big scripted follow-up on the main channel, because it's really, I don't know, I don't want to say unprecedented. We've had some pretty dramatic flops, but like coming from Sony, just how far the mighty have fallen. It's Sony. It's not even like EA, you know, EA, Activision. Of course, they're going to be just so short-sighted, just so greedy, just so what, like, I get it coming from them, but coming from Sony, it's sad. It's really, really sad. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. So I knew they probably spent a lot on the game, because any AAA game costs a lot of money. It does. Any AAA game, you know, multiplayer games, they have to be really finely polished. They have to be good enough to even stand a chance. They can't get by. I mean, you know, some games are lucky enough to get by with like one really good, unique idea. But like for the most part, they've got to be a good quality product, you know, not counting like creativity and all that stuff. It's like functionally, it has to be a good polished product. And which I have no doubt that this is. And again, I have no doubt that it's fun enough to play. You know, people have played it. Or like, yeah, it's fine. It's a game. It works. And that kind of game costs a lot of money to make. But I still imagined they couldn't have been working on it that long, right? It's not even like a huge campaign. I mean, like there's like a story kind of thing in it, but it's not even like a big open world game. It's not. It's just a multiplayer shooter. And there was never any doubt that they spent a lot of money on it. But apparently, word on the street is they've been working on this for 8 years. Sorry, I should have given you another sit down and don't drink anything warning. 8 years. 8 years. They've been working on this. Oh, on this. I can't even fathom how much money they've spent on it. I can't. I could not calculate how much money they've spent on this. Just to reveal it, have almost nobody care, and release it and have almost no one play it. And this is just yet another one of those examples. Another one of those examples where I look back at all the people who have ever gotten mad at any kind of critic for being like, oh, you think you know better than these companies? They're professionals. They get paid millions of dollars. Like individually, these executives get millions, tens of millions of dollars every year to do this job. You don't think they know what they're doing? And you just look at something like this. It's just like, they don't. They don't. You know, especially in a creative medium like games, it's not just about putting out a product with a lot of function that people are going to want to use. This is a creative medium. And in a creative medium, you do have to be kind of tuned in to your audience. You have to. And there was just such a staggering disconnect between Sony and its audience here. And of course, that is because it's chasing trends. It's just trying to copy something that's already popular. And yeah, I don't know. Again, I'll make another like big video about it later. I needed to like just kind of look at these early numbers and just kind of marvel at them. And apparently a lot of this comes down to the fact that like they essentially launched I mean, you look at the game and you're like, that's a free-to-play shooter. It just is. Like, just materially, you're looking at it. You're like, it's free, right? It's not, though. They didn't charge full price. They didn't charge 60 or 70. They charged 40, which is a very, like, weird in-between. It's a very, like, wishy-washy, like, just, like, commit, like, pick a lane, you know? Is this a free shooter where you're going to get people with the battle passes and the microtransactions? Or is this a AAA game you want to charge 70 bucks for? This weird in-between. In-between, like, budget pricing works for a lot of games, but here, it's just kind of like, come on. Come on. So, like, you're not giving us a good product. Nobody was interested in the product when you revealed it, and you're still asking 40 bucks for it. You're still asking a not insignificant amount of money for the privilege of playing it. And I think it is safe to say that it will be going free to play pretty soon. We can't exactly know when, but, like, clearly they have to. They just have to. It is necessary. It is required that they make this game free. I don't know, maybe when the, when it was revealed to such poor reception, maybe they're like, okay, well, let's charge a little money for it anyway, and we'll make some money, you know. Those few hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people, not as much as we want, but they'll buy the game and we'll make the money, and then we'll make it free to play later. No, you got hundreds. You got hundreds of people. You know, with PlayStation, it's got to be like a few thousand, right? And we can't just go by the concurrent. The total is going to be more. It's probably sold. I don't know, whatever. I don't calculate exactly how much it's sold. But it's nothing. It's peanuts. Even for, like, a medium budget game, it's peanuts. It's not enough. And for a game that they worked 8 years on, it's a drop in the bucket. It's nothing. So I certainly expect it to go free to play, like, pretty soon. They got to kind of, it's a whole conversation in itself, but kind of strike that balance. You know, the earlier you do it, the better off you are financially, but the more embarrassing it is, the more you're just admitting that you made a huge mistake. So you got to, like, find that balance of, like, dignity of, like, how early can we make it free to play. But anyway, that's that. That's all I'll say on that. We'll have a much bigger discussion about this later. It's just it's just unreal. Absolutely unreal.